So I have downloaded the data types file, and what we're going to do is add some coding in so that we can subtract numbers, multiply and divide numbers, and we can just kind of clear everything out. And we're also going to add some code so that when we pick a number, and we have numbers all the way through 8 here. So when we pick a number 0 through 8, it is going to change the background color, and it's going to display the name of the color below. And then finally, we are going to program this so that we can actually pick a different color for our text, and it will change the text in the page. And we're going to do all of this using JavaScript. So I have downloaded the file and I've opened it in VS Code. And our first task is going to be to add the functionality for the numbers. And right now in the code, we have the functionality for addition. So if I put a number in here, and I put another number in here, and I click on the plus sign, I will see the result. And we have coding in here also to clear everything out. Okay? We do not have coding for subtraction, multiplication, or division. So I've included the do add function, and the other functions we need to add are going to be very similar to this one. So what this is doing is it's pulling in the first number, okay, and we're using document.getElementById. That is one of the ways in JavaScript that you can target a specific input element. And if we look down here in our HTML, you'll notice that we have number 1, and then we have our input tag, and we set the ID to value 1. So this getElementById is targeting this input element. Okay? And at the end, we have .value, which means it's going to retrieve whatever value is in the input box. Now in JavaScript, values that are in input boxes are text by default, and you cannot do arithmetic on text. So we have document.getElementById value 1.value. We have that inside a little function called parseInt. And what that function does is it converts the value that is in the input box into an integer number. And after it converts it to a number, we can do arithmetic on it. So parseInt is converting the value that the user has typed into an integer, and we're storing it in a variable called value1. We're doing pretty much the same thing for value 2. So they're entering a second value. So they're entering a number here, and they're entering a number here. This input box has an ID of value 2. Okay, and it is right down here. So this document.getElementById value2.value is targeting this input box, and it's retrieving what the user has typed in. All of that is inside parseInt because it's taking the text value and it's converting it into a numeric integer, which is a whole number, and then it's storing it in the value2 variable. So value 1 has a number, and value 2 now has a number. Okay? And then to display the result, we are targeting the result ID, which is down here. And this is just another input box. We have this set to read only, which means they can't type anything in. And then we've got document.getElementById result, set attribute, and the attribute we want to set is a value. We want to put a value in the input box. And what we want to put in there is the result of value 1 plus value 2. So it's going to take the two numbers, add them together, and display the result. Okay, that is all this do add does. The remove result function basically blanks out the value that is in result. So whatever we calculated and displayed, that is going to get rid of it, basically. So what you need to do is create do sub, do mult, and do div for division. Okay? So easiest way to do that is just to copy this. And I'm going to press Control and C as in Charlie. And now I'm going to paste Control and V as in Victor. And I'm going to change do add to do sub. And I'm going to paste again. And I'm going to change do add to do mult. And then we'll paste again. And we're going to change do add to do div. Now, we need to make some additional changes. It's retrieving the numbers correctly, but for the result, we don't want it to add the values. So when we're doing do sub, it needs to subtract. And when we're multiplying, it needs to multiply, which is a little asterisk. And then for division, we just need the slash. Now, in the real world, we would put some error handling, especially for division, because we don't want to do any kind of division by zero. However, we haven't covered if statements yet. So we're just going to assume we have very smart users and they are going to key in numbers, not zeros. So at this point, this is the functionality that we need to do all of the math. So I'm going to go ahead and save. And then we'll go out here and let's reload our page. Hopefully it's got, I'm just going to double check. Sometimes it doesn't reload very well. Okay, it's got all my new stuff in there. So I should be able to subtract, multiply, divide, add, and clear. Okay, so this little section, this task is now complete.